Hello and welcome to a new podcast called Let's Talk About the Football from Last Weekend, where myself, Jamie Clark, and football expert Martin Hudson will talk about the football from the last weekend, the Barclays Premier League, Premiership as it used to be called, the EPL English Premier League, and welcome to the show, Martin.
Hello folks.
It's great to have you on the pod. Looking forward to talking about the football with you today, and hopefully for many future episodes.
Yeah, I hope so.
You know, a lot of people have been telling me about how much I know about football, and like, you know, I'm in the pub, I'm in a bar, and I'm chatting just to strangers really about the football. And people have said to me in the past, you know, you have great knowledge, you have great depth of knowledge. Why don't you talk about it? You know, there's a niche for this kind of podcast out there. So I was like, well, why not? Why the hell not? And, you know, I brought you on board because you're also a big football fan, and it'd just be great to hear your expertise and your opinions on what's happened in the last weekend of the football.
Yeah, well, you know, if I'm a football fan, and that doesn't qualify me as an expert, shoot me, you know. So yeah, let's go ahead.
Great. Now, remember, guys, this is football as in English football and not American football. So turn off now if you have joined this show and you're hoping to listen to a chat about American football. This is about English football, using feet. Americans use their hands. This is not an American football podcast, so, you know, you can carry on listening. There's no rules. In fact, you know, carry on listening. Maybe it'll get some of you guys into what you call soccer. So, Martin, we're going to kick off with your opinions on the first game of the Premier League weekend, the good old Premiership. Nottingham Forest versus Brighton.
Well, there's only one place to start, isn't there? And that's Nottingham Forest Brighton. I don't know who said it. I think it was, well, I mean, I heard it on Match of the Day. I think it was Daryl Murphy, maybe. But what he said was, look, Chris Wood is going to get all the plaudits. But I think we need to look at Ilanga and Gibbs-White, because don't look in the papers. You won't see their names. But really, it was all about them guys. They gave Chris Wood that foundation to play football, and boy, did he play football. But as I said, those two were absolutely instrumental.
It's interesting as well, isn't it? Because Chris Wood, before the game, people were asking, would he be able to score a couple of goals and help Nottingham Forest to a victory? And yes, he would. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Well, he did.
So that was 7 goals for Nottingham Forest. Lucky number 7. Not so much for Brighton. Okay.
No, I mean, listen.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, Bournemouth versus Liverpool. Now that kicked off, guys, at 3 p.m. Liverpool managed to snatch the victory. Don't know about you, Matt, but I really think that Liverpool could end up winning the title this year.
I'll go one further than that. I think they're going to romp it. You know, if we're looking back this time in May and they haven't won it, then I don't know. Perhaps I should do one of those bets. Sort of show my arse in a school window or something, because they are going to win the league. And there's only one place to start, and that's Mo Salah. He's just doing Mo Salah things again. And Bournemouth were very much put to the sword, as they say. Been in great form, but Liverpool
form.
just too hot to handle. Yeah.
Mo Salah, that guy, he's got to be, would you possibly say, the best Egyptian player to have graced the Premier League?
I'd say after Messi and Ronaldo.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Everton, Leicester. Everton, playing at the old Goodison Park, managed to get a pretty good victory, beating Leicester City.
Yeah. Well, look, you're not going to beat Everton under the floodlights, and that's exactly what they did. David Moyes, the second coming, if you like, and I think he's made all the difference there. I really do.
A couple of celebrated people who've made second comings. David Moyes, Jesus Christ. No, sorry, he's not made a second coming yet, has he? Just scrolling up to see the next game. Ipswich Town 1, the Saints 2. Relegation battle decider. Do you, Martin? Do you think that Southampton are going to stay up?
Well, I must admit I didn't actually catch this game.
I didn't either.
It wasn't a great fixture, was it? But a great game by all accounts. So well done to Southampton, much needed. I'm sure that'll give them a morale boost and a fighting chance, I think, now.
I do think that maybe you should have watched that, because I did say beforehand that I wouldn't be watching. I didn't have time to watch that game, so it would have been useful if we're going to speak about it on the show next time, if you can actually watch it, because otherwise,
the scoreline spoke for itself.
Yeah, as I say, next time it would be good. Newcastle Fulham, okay. Wolves versus Aston Villa. So that was a victory for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Those Wolves, those pesky Wolves, biting the ankles of Aston Villa. Aston Villa not so vanilla this season. Actually, they've been an assortment of flavours. Did you catch this one?
I did. It says, does it not, prepared on Aston Villa's crest?
I've no idea.
They didn't look prepared.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at it now.
Right.
No, it actually says Aston Villa. It says Aston Villa. I thought it said prepared. Okay. Still, the point stands. They were not ready for this game. I believe they've been playing in Europe, and Wolves, you'd never believe that they were 19th in the league. I think before kickoff, they just look a better team with Cunha in. That's for sure.
That's the great take. And great take.
Yeah.
Couldn't
I think
agree
so.
more. Couldn't agree more with you. It's a lot better if just one of us speaks. Otherwise, you get a lot of cross chatter, and it might confuse the listeners. So, okay, Brentford, Tottenham. Brentford losing at home to Tottenham, who Tottenham had a lot of injuries lately, haven't they? The other day, it was quite funny to see the ball was kicked towards the bench, and the Tottenham manager, Ange Postecoglou, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Any thoughts on Brentford, Tottenham?
Hands up, who saw this one coming? Now, I'm going to assume that's the vast majority of our listeners. I certainly didn't, and don't feel bad if you didn't either. I think the same could be said for whoever it was that scored the own goal for the first goal, the first Tottenham goal. They didn't play like we've come to expect from Spurs. They sort of did Brentford very much on the counter attack. I think they only had like 2 chances in the game, and they were converted. So Brentford licking their wounds as wounds as the. I'm getting them. So I was just thinking of Wolves then. Sorry, I'm licking the wound. Yeah, we have to say well done to Spurs, and it takes some of the pressure off Ange Postecoglou.
Licking the wounds would be another type of podcast.
Don't try that.
Good, you're doing really well. Okay, Manchester United losing at home to Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace, one of my favourite teams, mainly because of the name. It's just a terrific name. I like to imagine a palace made out of crystal. Don't know if I'm alone on that, Martin.
Well, they're benign, aren't they? Who has anything against Crystal Palace? I think, Brighton, which is a strange one, but no, I think we're all if not our second team, then very much our third team.
Great. And final game of the weekend was Arsenal versus Manchester City, 5-1. I was actually in London yesterday, and quite a funny story. I was at the train station, and there were a lot of Arsenal fans, and they were all wearing the scarves and the tops, and I was thinking to myself, would you be wearing them if you hadn't won 5-1? I think you probably would have taken them off, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's only one place to start, and I'm surprised that we didn't start with this, actually. Arsenal, fantastic. What is going on at City? I think people are scratching their heads, but I think...
People are scratching their faces.
You could be Pep Guardiola, but well, in this case, it is Pep Guardiola. But unless you're Pep Guardiola, sorry, he is. I'm being clumsy here, but what I'm trying to say is, in order for Pep to play Pep football, he needs footballers of the commensurate value. He needs footballers in the right position, and he needs them to be world class. And when those players become available, then the form will be restored, and people will say he's back. He's remembered how to manage. How come he forgot for a while? Where did it go? And the reality is, it was in his pocket the whole time, kind of thing. But
excuse me.
Seriously, what is going on at City?
Well, a lot of people are saying, and I apologise for swearing, but shitty City, playing like they've shit the bed every week. Don't forget, Martin, they're the current Premier League champions.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, before we dart off, Martin is going to be doing... Well, I'd like to think of this podcast as not just being a podcast, but kind of like a hub with several spokes, like a wheel on a bike. And one of those spokes is another podcast that Martin is going to be bringing out. Do you want to tell the listeners about that?
Yeah, we will be looking at the taking a glance at the attendance figures for each game in that game week.
The attendance figures.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. Well, yeah. Thanks for listening, and you'll hear us again next week. So thanks for listening, and you'll hear us.